I think the interesting part here, Mark, is that we have the video in the store of him being robbed, aggravated assault committed against him multiple times, all these things, being stolen
Armed
from.
robbery, yeah.
Yeah, armed robbery. And obviously, this is an egregious wrong, and he has every right to be incensed about that. Then he grabs his gun and is like, nope, I'm chasing these guys. I'm getting after them. We don't have that on camera. So we have to, there's an awful lot of speculating we're going to end up doing on this one, and we want to be cautious of that.
I don't like what this guy did at all. I would tell this guy, look, you survived an ag assault and an armed robbery, and you got two thugs clearly in there, and fortunately they didn't shoot you. I'd lock the door, closed for the day, call the police, get them the video, and live to fight another day, or live another day, I should say.
Well, and I said that for the idea of you got in an optional gunfight. I mean, you chase these guys down, and even if we're going to give him all the benefit of the doubt that the guy did point the gun back at him when he said, hey, man, give me my money back. So he shot him, justified shooting. The police certainly saw it that way. But that was not a necessary gunfight.
Yeah, and I don't know that this would necessarily. I mean, I could imagine some facts where a prosecutor might say, look, this thing was over. This is revenge at this point. This is vengeance at this point. Or this is a deadly force to protect property at this point, and you can't do that. And so this guy really risked, as I understand, there was a shooting and one of the bad guys was killed. I think this guy risks some kind of a second-degree murder charge, or maybe a manslaughter charge. And so this guy may be our dumbest guy, really.
Really?
Now,
you
maybe
think so?
What's the dumbest thing? What's the dumbest thing you can do with a firearm? Get in an optional gunfight.
Yeah, an optional gunfight, non-necessary gunfight. Right?
Can you think of anything dumber than that? I mean, that's probably one of the dumbest things you can do, is get in an optional gunfight, and that's exactly what this guy did. I mean, the bad guys sometimes win those optional gunfights,
right?
And so not only that, but I think that just risking a life-changing, maybe even life-ending prosecution here for no reason at all, to recover the few $100 or whatever they got out of that register, this is colossally stupid. So maybe you can justify it by saying, okay, this guy's just a really, really good Samaritan, and
he's out there serving this community.
We clearly got dangerous fleeing felons here, and he's following them, and I don't know what happens, right? I mean, if the bad guy turns with the gun, then clearly now it's in a different analysis. So, but you take an awful lot of risk here, and so...
Well, okay, but I mean, I look at it and I say, all right, so if I'm the victim of an armed robbery and I lock the door and I call the cops, do I need an attorney at that point? No, I'm the victim of a crime here. I'm calling the cops, and the cops are on my side. Now, when I have a secondary defensive gunfight, am I calling an attorney now?
Absolutely, you're calling. There's no question about that. After that shooting, when the cops arrive, you don't say a word except, I want to call my lawyer right now. And then you call, and then we say, you're not saying a word, and we bring you in, and we look at the video, and we go through the whole thing, and then there are witnesses out there. So why just avoid that mess?
And even if I have like a defensive services membership or something like that, I'm still talking thousands of dollars worth of problems I just bought myself. Potentially tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars of problems I bought myself.
There's just no, even if you signed up under our program, you got a free, literally free criminal defense services from our firm. Because as you know, we have a program coming out. People pay $25 a month. They get free, no legal fees at all. Even under those circumstances, do you realize the aggravation you're going to have to deal with, and the stress you're going to have to deal with, and people in the community might look at you differently, and now you killed somebody, and that's going to haunt you potentially for the rest of your life. It's so much easier to just lock the door and move on. This guy, I think, it seems it turned out really good for him. On the other hand, there's been a death here, and so usually there's no statute of limitations for something like that, and prosecutors take a lot of time and very carefully look at these. I don't know when this thing happened, but this guy's got to really be concerned about it, because it could take him a year or longer to look at and make a decision about.
Yeah, well, and I know some people on the channel, a lot of folks in the channel are going to talk about that. You know, this video is sponsored by Firearms Legal Protection and Defensive Services, or people have other companies. There's all those that are out there doing their thing and those things. But there's more than just the financial cost of that. There's the social cost. There is the spiritual cost, what you have to deal with in your soul, the emotional cost of that, of taking somebody else's life. I mean, I know some people who say, wow, man, if I shot a guy, I wouldn't care. And I go, you know what I know? You've never shot somebody.
Right.
Because everybody I know who's been through that pays a huge emotional toll just from the risk to their own person and what that meant for them and what that meant for their family. I can imagine my wife, if I came home and got in an optional gunfight, and her wagging her finger at me saying, how dare you risk your life for a few $100 like that and put me at risk of being a widow. for that. So I just think it's stupid.
I know some highly trained police officers who have shot and killed people and have had to deal with that grief. And also being in the Marine Corps, I've had lots of occasions to talk to guys who have done things that they were ordered to do.
Yep.
Even with training and everything else, it's still, I mean, look, it's no secret the PTSD that we have now from all of the people who are coming back.
Yeah, we've been fighting wars for
we're all humans.
18 straight years.
We're all humans.
Yeah.
And it's best just to understand the preciousness of the lives that we have right now, and look at what just happened with Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah.
You really need to savor every minute and don't take unnecessary risks. And it's hard to think of bigger unnecessary risks than an optional gunfight.
So, okay, fine. I think the big thing here we can say, this guy wasn't charged, so clearly the prosecutor bought his story of what happened.
At least not yet.
Well, at least not yet. But I mean, at some level, probably bought his story of the guy turned and pointed a gun at me again, whatever. Okay, fine. But the other costs of this make it stupid. And guys, when the attorney who gets paid by the hour to defend you doing things says, hey, don't hire me, just avoid this problem entirely,
Absolutely.
You might want to listen to it.
Absolutely.
Marc, as always, man, appreciate the wisdom.
Great to be here.